and welcome to Community Notes with Topham. I am your host Topham, and this week my guest is Grenou, or Spencer. How's it going?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm pretty excellent, thanks. Right, let's get straight into it.
Sure.
I asked you to choose 3 songs with no specific influence. Which one would you like to start with, and why do you like that song?
Let's start off with "Smoke and Mirrors" by Gautier.
Cool.
Yeah. It was actually hard to pick just one song off of that album. It was probably one of the more interesting albums I've heard in a very, very long time. It was so quirky, so cool, just very interesting to my ears. I gotta say, I loved it all around. But "Smoke and Mirrors" for some reason sticks out to me. It's a bit dark, like it's on the face value of it. It's kind of it sounds like he's actually poking fun at his, he's kind of taking down his mom, kind of thing. But I don't think that's the case. I really don't.
Well, that'd play along with the title of the track.
Yeah, I mean, he references his quote unquote mother for the throughout the whole song. But when I look back at the context of when that song was written and released, I think it was more in reference to the Prime Minister of Australia at the time. I can't remember her name. Julia Gillard.
Julia Gillard.
Yeah, that's her name. I think it was more of a political song than anything else. In retrospect.
Well, "Smoke and Mirrors" is typically associated with government tactics of some kind,
which I didn't realize right away, but I still like the song anyway, even though it's a political song, and I'm not a terribly, well, actually no, I am kind of a political guy, but not so much about another country, kind of say, more or less of my own, Canadian roots than Australian, but the same applies, kind of thing. It's written in a way lyrically that could apply to virtually any world leader, so to speak. So I thought it was pretty cool, and just the music aspect of it was just really fun to listen to. Just trying to listen to all the layers and how it's all put together. It's just really fun to listen to. Yeah,
it's got really interesting underlying beat to it, and then everything just interplays really, really well in that track.
Yeah, I mean, Gautier is so good at production and using production for a musical end. It's something I'm trying to aspire to, although I haven't gotten there yet. Not by a long shot, But that's it. Yeah.
Cool. So, what kind of work do you do?
I am actually an audio engineer. Currently, I'm working for Memorial University here in St. John's, Newfoundland, with the Research Center for the Study of Music, Media, and Place. And my particular job is my primary job basically is to record old reel-to-reel tapes, old cassettes and stuff, old research material, digitize them, archive them. I can even do quite a degree of audio restoration using various plugins and programs and whatnot before finishing archiving them and making then, putting them in a state where they can be then uploaded or, loaded onto a server or something like that for long-term storage, and then people can access them for research purposes.
Cool. It's very, very interesting stuff. Do you listen? Well, I assume you listen to everything that you hear. Do you hear anything that's absolutely fascinating and just like, I can't believe this is a thing?
Yeah, it's interesting listening. I've learned more I'm coming up on 10 years working at this now, and I've learned more about Newfoundland history, both politically, musically, culturally, since working at Memorial University than I did before in my whole life before this. So it's there's no one thing in particular that wouldn't be incredibly local, and unless you're from Newfoundland you wouldn't have a clue about it. Like hearing old tapes of our first premier Joey Smallwood basically absolving himself of things he did while he was in office and stuff like that in his own words. Wow, you really have written your own history, dude. It's very unusual.
Cool. Let's move on to a track you find inspirational, and that you can just put on and be like, I feel inspired to do stuff.
I'm going to pick Ragpicker's Dream by Mark Knopfler. I can't listen to that song where, I cannot. There's not a time where I can listen to that song and not be almost in tears by the end of it. At the basically at its conclusion, it's basically a song about a couple of hobos. They're riding the rails. They're down on their luck, but they are consistently dreaming and daydreaming and of better days and better lives, of what they could have and what they're working towards and all this stuff. I mean, in the end, they basically get, kicked off the train and all this stuff. And there's a great line, on his knees like a fighter, like a bull in the ring, that kind of thing. As the boys are basically beating him down and arresting him. Yet he's still so positive. He's like, yeah, well, things will get better, because, he's like, where the whiskey keeps tumbling like tears in our beer, that kind of thing, right? It's just everything. They're so positive of looking forward and say, yeah, we're going to get ourselves out of this. And yeah, I can't listen to that song and not almost bawl.
Fair enough. It's a really, really awesome song to listen to.
It is. And I mean,
it's got such a story.
Yeah. And I mean, Knopfler has such a way of lyrically painting a picture. It's something that I've always admired about him. And then he backs it up 100% musically. Everything is there to support the story, the narrative of the song, and he just is so good at it. Oh my God!
Cool. Let's move on to something else. Are you a musician yourself?
In a way, yes. I can nitpick at a few things, but I excel at none of them. I basically got started doing audio engineering because I sucked as a drummer.
Right.
I ran out of things, because basically what happened was I started playing drums. At first it was just military snare stuff like that. Then I tried playing, full-on kit. Realized that wasn't going to be an option. Started playing bass. Better bass player came along, so I said, all right, good enough. Well, I'm not playing guitar because you guys were, my buddies were already playing guitars around me, and I'd be screwed if I was going to go singing, unless it was like a pissed off Kermit the Frog or something like that impersonation. So basically what I did then was I said, well, okay, good enough. I'll do sound. And that's how it kind of gravitated into that. But yeah, okay. I play a few instruments, all poorly.
Cool. So carrying on from that, I've seen you share something you've done thread, and you're like, oh, this is an album I've helped produce. What kind of roles do you take when you do that?
Mostly I'm just the recording engineer. I've been a recording engineer since I was 18 years old, and it's only in the past 10 years I've been full-time with the university doing this, but my life before that was full-time studio engineer, and I still do it in my spare time when a great project comes along and I'm interested in it and I think I could bring something to it. And basically I'm my first role is as engineer. I'm always, if someone wants to ask my opinion of what I think of something, it's like, oh, well, I think you could probably do it a little bit better, or, that kind of thing. Sometimes I do slide into a co-producer's role on a couple of projects I've done over the years, but mostly it is as either a recording engineer or a mixing engineer, looking after the technical side of things.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds very interesting. Do you get to see many up-and-coming bands in, your local area?
Actually, I do. I've been very, very fortunate to have worked with a lot of local groups that have or artists that have either made it fairly big or are on the cusp of making it big. One of the bands I used to do a lot of work with before working with Memorial University was Great Big Sea. I don't know have you ever heard of those guys?
The name sounds familiar, but I couldn't put any music to.
They're a fairly popular band here in Canada. They're kind of on a hiatus right now because the boys are off doing solo projects. So I'm not entirely sure when they're going to go back at it, or even if they are. But most likely they will. There's another group I worked with recently called Rocket Ship. Given if they can get their foot in the door, in 18 months they're going to be as big as Mariana's Trench. I'm positive of it. They're the real deal. They're fun guys. They write fun songs, and they can play like nobody's business. You know,
excellent.
Oh my God, they're so fun. Rocketship.com. Go
check that out,
please.
Yeah. Cool. Let's move on to another track you have had relatively free choice over. What is it, and why is it awesome?
I'm gonna say Clint Eastwood, Gorillas. That's just so much fun. That's so groovy to just listen to. That is a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't honestly know 100% what the lyrics are about. I don't care. It's just such a fun song to listen to. I love the groove. I love it's such a stripped down instrumental in terms of the bed track. It's a nice stripped down song. It's as straightforward as it gets, and the boys know how to, lyrically carry it off. I mean, you've got a rapper and what's his name from Blur? Damon
Albarn.
That's his name. I can never remember his last name. And and that's such a clash of musical cultures, but it so works together. It's fantastic. I love it.
It was such an interesting project. Like when it originally came out as well, it was like, oh man, everyone was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, especially over here, seeing as David Albarn's British, we were all just like, oh my God, he's a new god for us. Like he's done all this stuff in Blur, which we all loved, and now he's doing something else as well, which is also excellent.
Yeah, so I mean, the guy can do no wrong, right?
Well, apparently so. Yeah.
Yeah. I just found that so fun and so entertaining. I mean, and it's strictly on a face value, but I could listen to that song all day.
Yeah, definitely. The concept behind the band is cool as well.
It is.
It's all animated. And...
Yeah. It takes the whole. Remember when Dire Straits would not allow themselves to be videotaped? Like they wouldn't appear as themselves in a video. That was a long time ago.
I don't think I was around really.
Well, I wasn't either. It was kind of before my time on the whole thing. But the boys wouldn't. I mean, that was the whole idea behind the computer animation for Money for Nothing. It was like they didn't want to appear in the video themselves, so they created these cartoon anime characters type thing, right? Which was great.
Cool.
A degree of anonymity.
Yeah, definitely. That kind of leads me nicely on to the epic rap battles, which originally started about, people and characters from Rooster Teeth, and just it evolved into characters from their series, like the most recent one being, Sarge versus Church.
Yep.
What part did you play in the production of those?
Basically, I've been fortunate enough that Jeremy 6401, the sort of the brains behind that whole concept, he was looking for a bit of music to sort of to go behind the lyrics and vocal performances that he was doing, and he was kind of running out of resources for that. So I contacted him and said, "Man," and this was way back for when Ruby versus Tex was sort of in its infancy. I said, I have a really good... He said, yeah, anybody got any ideas for music? Let me know. I said, I got one for you. And I sent him a very rough demo, and he was like, yeah, let's go for it. I said, all right, cool, good enough. So then I had to turn around and contact Jeff Williams and see if I could actually use the tracks. and Jeff was really, really good and really, really enthusiastic about it. So I was very relieved, because if not, I had no plan B. Well, basically, what I do is I come up with the music based on input from Jeremy on what he'd like it to sort of feel like and how to sort of progress, how it should progress, kind of thing. Basically, I take the ideas that he's trying to come up with in his head and try and put them musically on the computer and try and capture the essence of what he's trying to go for. And then when he's happy with it musically, he'll cut his vocals at his place, and then he'll send me the waveforms for his vocal tracks, and I'll pop them into the session that I have here on my computer, and then I'll end up doing the final mix for it. And I've been fortunate enough to do that for number 7, number 9, number 10, and most recently number 11. So, super happy with how it's turned out, and the response that we've been getting. It's been so much fun to do. It's been incredibly fun, you know.
Yeah, it seems like it's a really worthwhile project as well.
Oh, it is. It's so much fun. Oh my lord.
Yeah, getting lots of attention, and it's rightly deserved.
Yeah. Oh my lord. He is so talented. Like coming up with these ideas of who to pit against each other, and how to approach the voices and the lyrical content and all this stuff. It's going to be interesting to see what he does now that he's an official part of Achievement Hunter.
I know, it's crazy.
I haven't been talking to him directly since he got the news, so I have no idea what the future is for the epic rap battles of Rooster Teeth. You know, we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I hope it continues.
I hope it do too, because they're so much fun. You know. Oh, good lord. I have an idea for the next one, because I think I know which one he's going to do. I already have an idea for it, but until we actually get down into it, I'm not going to, get it, put anything on tape or anything like that. Yeah, I want to run it by him first, obviously.
Yeah, cool. Let's move on to the next track you've chosen, a track that you find motivational.
Motivational.
Go and do everything ever.
Oh, that one was easy. That was I Want It All by Queen. Sums it up nicely. I think, I want it all, I want it all, I want it all, I want it now. and I mean, and it's not just because Freddie Mercury had the world by the balls for a while, and he was an amazing talent and an absolute inspiration for me of what can be achieved in a life, no matter how long or how tragically short it could be cut. And it's not only Freddie, but the rest of the guys in the band. I mean, they're ridiculously talented as well. I've often kind of just sat there and wondered what could have been achieved if Freddie had not passed away. That kind of, these are some thoughts that keep me awake at night. And that song kind of sums it up. And it's got power and it's got passion, and it's take life by the scrot and run with it. It's fantastic. Oh, I probably can't say that though, can I?
Don't worry.
Don't worry? Oh, okay. Oh.
I just prefer not to swear.
Okay, well, I'll try
I don't mind about my guests.
I'll try not to swear, but that was technically not a swear.
No, I know. I mean, that...
Sorry, I've been watching too much Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson.
Fair enough. Cool. So, is there anything else you want to say about that song?
No, it's the whole feel of the song. It is bigger than life itself, and I like the idea of aspiring to be bigger than life. Even though I have chosen in my profession to be a behind the scenes guy, which is kind of at odds with that, but I can still be a behind the scenes guy and still make this, still try and be as big as I can possibly be at what I do, kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah, you don't need to be in front of the camera or anything, or in front of the microphone to be good at what you do, kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Is there any style of music you gravitate towards?
If you were asking younger me, it would be the darker, more aggressive, thrashy type stuff. But since I've started in the music business and have been at it for 18 years now, God, I'm getting old. It's the type of music I listen to has broadened exponentially. It's probably the best way to describe it. I mean, my early CD collection was Metallica, Guns N' Roses, the Odd Slayer CD, White Zombie. You kind of get the idea, right?
Totally, yeah. That's exactly how my CD collection is kind of now. I'm trying to diversify.
But being exposed to all the music that I worked on early in my career, I mean, I'm now listening to a lot of Mark Knopfler. I've gone from Metallica to Alison Krauss and Union Station. That's not a leap at all. I even actually listen to some country music now. I'll blame my wife for that because she's a country fan. But yeah, I listen to more hip hop now. I listen to more electronic music now, something that would have been unheard of when I was, 20 years old. So yeah, I can't pin it down. I'm trying to consume as much as I can because I can learn from it all, right? For me, knowledge is good, because if someone comes into the studio and asks me, hey, is it possible to get such and such a sound from this album? I at least had to have a working knowledge of who that is. I can't look and go, I don't know, and throw up my hands in defeat. But I'm allowing myself to enjoy a much wider variety now, which is great.
Yeah, that's something I've been working on as well. Like,
it's
just
not
trying
easy
to diversify. I've just been looking recently at like the Reddit's half-year top albums of the year.
Oh yeah,
and there's like some awesome albums on there. I'm just looking at them. I'm just like, I'll start listening to everything, just everything I can find.
Yeah, and brilliant. I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, you're a musician yourself, correct?
Certainly, I am.
Yeah, so I mean, you'll find yourself coming up with much more interesting material for your own enjoyment, for playing purposes, than you would if you were just listening to one genre all the time. And that's
I was kind of gone away from what I was originally planning anyway. I wanted to play like heavy metal guitar, and
okay,
it's I just can't play heavy metal guitar apparently, despite listening to so much of it, and it's just like, it gets really frustrating, but I've kind of started to find my own sound anyway.
Excellent.
So it's like one of those things.
Exactly. That's great.
Cool. So let's move on to the final track that you have chosen. What is it, and why do you like it?
Well, I'm going to throw a little bit of Canadian content in here, and I have to go with Serena Ryder's Stompa. That song is about music. It's a song about music itself and how absolutely transformative music can be. And not only that, but she pulls it off in such exquisite way with this nice, solid, deep groove going, and she has such a voice. It's not like a squirrely pop, singer, blonde voice type thing. She has a nice, seasoned voice. It means something. There is weight behind it, even though she's only about that tall. She is an absolute fireball of energy when she gets going. Again, that is one of those songs where after the first time I heard it, that was it. I knew that was going to be one of my favorite songs of all time. And to be truthful, now that I've heard the rest of the album, that's probably one of my favorite albums of all time. Again,
awesome.
It's one great song and great performance of those songs after another. She's quite a breath of fresh air in the modern pop scene, modern music scene, I should say. There's yes, it's catchy. Yes, it's nothing too complex, but yeah, there's a whole pile of weight behind it,
Yeah, it's good to see something that there's a genuine talent in, and there's quality to it, rather than just being a bit pushed out there, or they're overplaying to some sense of something in the music.
Yeah. It's not the label pushing the music down your throat. This is music that could stand on its own, and that's kind of what. I mean, she's kind of built up it's been a long road for her, but she's built up quite a fan base, and this album just exploded for her. In turn, it was the icing on the cake. Now she's like a massive rock star.
Yeah. Excellent. It's always good to be following someone for a while and just see them make it, and just yes, they totally deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that song kind of epitomizes how music can be so transformative and therapeutic for you. That's the essence of that song. It's the essence of her, in my opinion.
Cool. So I'm going to ask you the final 3 questions that I ask all my guests.
Lightning round.
If you could have any superpower, which superpower would you have, and which of your songs would be your theme song?
Which of my songs would be my theme song? And superpower.
Yep, and superpower.
The ability to instant locate somewhere, to teleport myself anywhere that I can think of. That would make my life so much easier and so much cheaper on gas.
Yeah, that's easily one of my favorite superpowers.
Oh my god, that would be so helpful right now. And what song would be my theme song? I'd have to go back to Stompa. I really would. Just because that again is such an amazing tune. And it's got enough of angst and energy behind it that it wouldn't be too laid back, but it wouldn't be too aggressive or anything. Like, it kind of strikes the balance, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to be a superhero. Definitely with that song, it's like I could toe the line and I could go either way,
and I could still keep my anonymity. Nobody's gonna like freak out and say, oh, look at him, it's that guy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, by the time they recognize you, you'll have teleported away.
Exactly. Far away. Far, far away.
Cool. If you could only listen to one of the songs you've chosen for the rest of time, which one would it be?
Ooh. Yeah, I'll go back to Stompa.
A hard one.
I'll go back to Stompa.
Again?
Yeah. Yeah, as much as I like Ragpicker's Dream, I don't want to be crying for the rest of my life.
Yeah, there's only so much water you can lose.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a nice song, but it would be a little bit too laid back for the kind of lifestyle that I have. So yeah, Stompa's a nice constant, drive through my life, so to speak.
Cool. And what is your favorite album of the moment?
Of the moment, does this have?
Just one that you've been listening to?
Just one that I've been
recently.
listening. Okay. I'm going to go back to the latest Rocket Ship album that I worked on. I'm going to be totally selfish. I absolutely love the crap out of this album. It's called Shake It Off. And it was a lot of hard work. And I do mean a lot of hard work and a lot of long nights in the studio. But it was absolutely worth it to sit in on a session with these guys and put their ideas to tape. And just to watch them evolve while we were in there. The songs are so catchy. They're absolute earworms, every last one of them. And they absolutely blew me out of the water. And I mean, as far as music career standards go, I mean, I've been at it for a while. I'm not a big A-list engineer or anything like that, but I've seen my fair share of people. These guys impressed the crap out of me. They deserve to be rock stars. That, and I got the guy who produced the album, has since become a very, very good friend of mine, Chris Kirby, who's a brilliant artist in his own right. But I made so many great friends during that album, and I have such good memories of making that album. I honest to God, I believe everybody on earth should check out that album and either hate it or love it, but at least give it a shot. I love it.
Cool. I'll definitely be checking it out. Nice. Yes. Yeah, I'll be checking that album out.
Oh, absolutely. Please do.
So, we can find you on Rooster Teeth at Grenou. That's Grenou.
Yep.
And is there anywhere else we can find you on the internet?
Absolutely. I am on Twitter, which is Spencer in NL, all one word, SpencerInnL, which was the most original thing I could think of when I was signing on to Twitter. I must have been really bored that day.
Fair enough. So, thank you very much for being my guest.
Thank you very much. I'm not used to being interviewed or a guest of any sort, so this was very cool. I told my wife what I was doing today. She was like, "Why?"
It's like, why not?
Oh yeah, but I mean, I've tried to get her into the Rooster Teeth thing for a while now, and she looks at it and says, "You're weird." I was like, "That's okay." I mean, we have a son on the way now in about a month's time, so as soon as he's old enough to sit upright, he's going to be watching Rooster Teeth videos with me.
Cool. Good luck with all of that, by the way. I was going to wish you it off recording, but I'll leave it in.
Oh, thanks. That's I'm quite proud of it. My own little human to warp.
Woo! Cool. Well, I will leave it there, and we will say thank you very much once again, and goodbye.
Thanks. Cheers.